Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is more bad business content. This is the M231, a very unique weapon added to bad business that I was actually rather excited for. So if you don't know what this gun is, guys, this is a very strange gun. This is a gun that's it's an easy mistake to think that this is just part of the, like the AR-15 platform, the Colt platform. But it's not. This is not an M16. This is not attachments for an M16. This is a weapon that is mounted on vehicles. It's a weapon that fires, I think, from an open bolt. And if you know anything about firearms, the difference between those two things is staggering on a mechanical and an engineering side. This is a gun that doesn't even have iron sights built into it because it's designed to be hip-fired in close quarters from a vehicle. Like, this is a gun that should not exist. And they put it in the game, and apparently it's in Phantom Forces, and it's like a nightmare. It's really strong and really horrendous and stupid, and I have no idea. It's so confusing. I know of this gun from Metal Gear Solid 3, because it's the Patriot that the boss uses. And the bullets rotate, which is weird and mad and doesn't make any sense. And they added it to the game, and I started using it, and I started trying it, and this gun fires at 1100 rounds per minute, which, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I love high firing rate guns. It also has no ADS function, so when you aim, it zooms in. These are two things that I love. I love the idea of a hipfire LMG machine, and I love the idea of a ludicrously high fire rate. But when you combine everything together in this weapon, it doesn't work. It doesn't perform like I thought it was going to perform. I thought this was going to be like running around with a minigun. I thought this was going to be a gun where you had to like hunker down and aim. And if you hit things, you destroyed them. Especially up close. I thought when you bumped into people, the time to kill was going to be a frame. I thought you were going to melt people before they even knew they were in the server. And you don't. This gun has probably the slowest time to kill feeling of any gun I've used in bad business. And I know it's not true, but that's how it feels. It feels like you're hitting them with nothing. It's like you're pillar fighting. And you hit people with 100 hit markers and they don't die. And it's such a confusing weapon because everything about this makes me want to love it. This is a gun designed for me, and then up close it doesn't work. And I don't care about my stats in bad business. I think caring about stats is the biggest mistake you can make in video games when it comes to true improvement, because you can change how you play and prioritize playing in a particularly terrible way to maintain statistics that don't really mean anything. But with this gun, I noticed that my statistics were lower when I was using it. Of all the guns I've used in bad business, I've managed to be effective with. I've managed to win most fights and have a good time. This was the gun where I was struggling to break 50 kills with this, because I couldn't get into engagements where I could kill people. I would shoot at them from a distance and they'd live. I'd get up close and I'd shoot at them and they'd live. I'd get up close and I'd shoot at them and they'd beat me. This was a super frustrating gun. And what it reminded me of, it made me think of the icicle launcher, where the gun is as good as it wants to be in that particular instance when you use it. So every time you hold the trigger, you're rolling dices. And I don't like a gun that makes me feel like I'm rolling dices. I like guns that make me feel like when my aim is on, I'm rewarded. And this gun is not that. So I'm probably never going to use this gun ever again. I'm going to get it gold, because I want to get every gun gold. Which is only 1,000 kills, it's nothing too Herculean. Even for a person that plays multiplayer once a week like I do, like a giant scrub. I'm going to get it there. And I'm going to enjoy the time I had with it, but we're just different people, Me and this gun, we don't get along. And you know it's bad when I'm on Chernobyl doing a TDM or a King of the Hill, and I'm still not getting like 70, 80 kills, when this is one of those maps that once you know the rotation, you can use any weapon and be very effective. And admittedly, I used it for one day. I played for about 4 hours, I used it on one day, and my consensus afterwards was, it should be really good. Sometimes it really melts, most of the time it doesn't melt at all, and it's frustrating and annoying. But I do know that the more you use it, you do get used to it, you do get a feel for how it should work, and maybe there's some really broken setup with the barrel and some kind of crazy attachment that just makes it really sing. But from what I found from using it, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And that's coming from somebody that hipfires the Vector and has a beautiful time doing so. And this gun's not as good as that. The Vector's better than this, you know? Most of the guns are better than this. This is one of those guns that when you die to it, you're gonna get pissed off, but it's not because they didn't deserve it, they really did. Unless they got lucky hipfire headshots and you went down in 5 bullets or 6 bullets or however many it is for the minimum kill. This is not a gun where you get cheated. It just isn't. On paper, it seems like it should be. 1100 fire rate, you should die instantly. There should be no contesting it. And it looks like sometimes that that's what's happening, but from one player to another, this is the ultimate lie of a gun. It's a gun that makes you think it's going to be disgustingly overpowered, and at times it even might be, but fundamentally, if you put anything else on, you're going to do better. It's just the way I felt with it. And the thing that hurts it the most is the mag. If you want to do the 100 rounds, and to me, what's the point of doing anything but 100 rounds? It's fucking hilarious, right? But if you do 100 rounds, you're really slow. So if you want speed with this weapon, you have to sacrifice ammo. And if you sacrifice ammo, why are you even using it? Like, if you're running around with the base magazine and good mobility, you're probably going to turn it into a much better weapon. But then you don't get the big ammo, and the whole point of it is running around and being able to shoot 100 bullets. So to me, it's kind of a logical absurdity. It kind of goes against the whole point of the gun. But it's... what a strange weapon to add. Of all the weapons I would have liked them to add, this wasn't it. And we've seen that there is a revamp coming for the 249, the M249, the SAW, the light machine gun. And I'm really excited for that because that was one of my favourite weapons in Bad Business on my first Prestige. I got it to, I think, like level 47 or 52 or something like that. And that was back before the levels were, you know, when the levels were really slow. And when you do your first Prestige on Bad Business, there aren't that many guns. You know, you use your AK, you use your G36, you might try the UMP. You know, you might try the P90, you'll try the FMG9, and then eventually you get that light machine gun and you're like, oh my god, I've finally got a lot of bullets. It's a really cool feeling. And that gun's amazing. It's very, very accurate, it's very powerful, it's very fun, it's got like 120 rounds, it's slow as piss. And apparently, one of the attachments is going to be the chainsaw grip, which turns it into a hipfire gun. And I'm really hoping that the hipfire is accurate. I'm really hoping that you can condense it into a really, really cool spread, and you can run around and just Hades the shit out of people with that gun, because that's what I'm really looking forward to. But I've got to say this much, guys, I'm kind of worried. I'm worried because of this gun. This gun right here has shown me that high fire rate, high mag size, and hip fire does not necessarily mean that it's going to be anything special. Because if anything, I think this might be one of the least enjoyable guns in the game that I've used. And I don't say that lightly because there's a lot of merit here if you like this kind of thing. But I was getting mad when I was using this gun, and I don't usually get mad in Bad Business at my gun. There were few moments where I would get angry at the weapon. On the submachine guns, MP5 did it. MP5 did it, sometimes the P90 did it. Assault rifles, the TAR. The TAR for me, I don't know what it was, it took me ages to stop hating the TAR. I thought it was horrible. I've come to really like it now, but when I was first using it for a long time, I just disliked the living shit out of it. Light machine guns, definitely this bad boy. And everything else doesn't really matter, but... those guns, I really found myself getting mad, because I would lose gunfights I would have won with any other gun. And I didn't feel like it was my fault I lost. I felt like I was losing dice rolls, I wasn't losing gunfights. And to me, I think that right there that's your sound clip, isn't it? When you're losing dice rolls because it's not your skill, you have yourself a fundamentally flawed weapon.